This is not the church of Joseph Smith.
Let God prevail. Let God prevail. Let God prevail. Let God prevail.
Travis went good, so I'm noticing there's a level of cabin fever among the wrestlers as tensions are getting high, and I don't understand it, because I taught myself to stay in my room my whole life until it was time to watch TV at night, except on Saturdays. Of course, it had to be when I didn't have baseball practice. So, how does the presidency of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints get succeeded in the church? Well, it's automatically the president of the Quorum of the 12. And when I was a kid, I did not know this. I was told that God inspires the apostles as to who's supposed to be chosen, and so it could be anybody, even an elder could be chosen to be the president of the church. And I'd always believed that, and come to find out that's not the case. And so what happened? Well, Brigham Young happened with the murder of Joseph Smith. There were a number of different guys who thought that they could run the church. And each and every single one of them said that they had a document from Joseph Smith and had the document to show for it, that Joseph Smith approved that they were supposed to succeed and lead the church, and even Brigham Young. And some of them got a little more creative. James Strang, for example, he created some metal plates with scribbling on them, called it ancient writing, and to one-up Joseph, produced the translation to show with the plates. And so, yeah, you got a lot of popular Mormons, infamous Mormons even, and another smelling things that shouldn't be smelled. And of course now we've got somebody banging on the wall here, the new guy. And so Alpheus Cutler, he was a member of the High Council of Zion. And if you're not familiar with that quorum, yeah, it's because this isn't Joseph's church. And he was likewise said Joseph Smith had told him stuff, and he was supposed to wait for a sign in the heavens to restore the church. And I found that sign in the heavens, and I've done the videos of it, but yeah, each and every single branch off has their justification why they are the one true succession. So Brigham Young was no different, as he was the president of the 12 after the 1838 coup of the church that I've talked about. He therefore had to design his administration after him being legitimized as the successor to Joseph Smith. And so thus why it's the president of the Quorum of the 12 who succeeds to be the president of the church. And it's a weak argument. It has no weight in it. You won't find it in Scripture anywhere. Yet, they did what they did and fooled a lot of Mormons and threatened a lot of Mormons. And a lot of Mormons went willingly, knowing, as they were the Danites. And so, in section 107 of the Doctrine and Covenants, President of the Church is to be in the keys of Moses. And 110 is the Kirtland Temple experience with seeing all of the men like Moses with different names in vision to Joseph and Sidney Rigdon, or I don't, well, was it Oliver and Sidney? But it doesn't matter. Because only the president of the church is supposed to have that key. And the true successor is the only one who can get that key to lead the church with authority. And nobody did. Thus, the church died with Joseph Smith and Hiram's death. But the gifts are prophet, seer, revelator, and translator. Gifts. They're not titles per se, but yeah, if you are a translator with the gift of translation, you kind of are a translator. But in section 124 of the Doctrine and Covenants, Hiram Smith, who succeeded his father after Joseph Smith Sr. died, to become the patriarch of the church. And Joseph tells us in section 94, or verse 94, section 124, he says, "And from this time forth I appoint unto him," Hiram Smith, "that he may be a prophet and a seer and a revelator unto my church, as well as my servant Joseph." So Joseph Smith Sr., therefore, also was patriarch, prophet, seer, and revelator. And that's kind of important when you look over the scriptures from the early days of the church. Hint, hint. And the rewritten 116 pages. And in verse 125 of that same section, 124, then it repeats that Joseph is to be a presiding elder over the church and be a translator, a revelator, a seer, and a prophet. And then it says for counselors for Joseph, you have Sidney Rigdon and William Law, but he doesn't list them as being translators, revelators, seers, or prophets. Paying attention to this? Because what you have learned from the Brighamite branch-off that we're in, you've perceived that all prophets and apostles are prophets, seers, revelators, and you throw in translator, but they never do. I just did the video which YouTube misappropriated the copyright claim for. They didn't say it was the church. Nope. They said it was some Spanish channel or something like that. I'm just like, oh my God. Is the Mormon employee that desperate to shut me down and silence me again? But I've warned you guys long before he actually shut down my channel before conference, saying that they were going to shut me down because of what I know and need to warn you about, not just for conference, which, oh gee, how did I know? In the coming days, but also for the election. And so it's just unbelievable the abuse that is going on here. as the Mormons and church are desperate to keep me silenced and dead as best as possible. And they've done a great job, but I made sure to prioritize the 200-pound Egyptian gold plates rather than my vanity of looking and smelling as beautiful as I do. Don't you guys appreciate that? I mean, you guys aren't with me, so you don't... dear God, the smells. What a nightmare. But, yeah, Joseph's was a completely different church. There was only Joseph as the president. Only him and Hiram. And the Brighamite Church has minimized Hiram's role and thus his talks. We don't have much in the way of Hiram's speaking talks and such, which should be considered of great importance as well. But yeah, when you have the conquering church dictate the narrative, that's what happens. And so yeah, there's probably a whole bunch of missing documents from Hiram that are great for bombshells. I know he did talk about how I saw the meme come up since it's election time again. He spoke about how we should not vote for an evil person, and I think he also had mentioned that we shouldn't vote if there are only two and we had to choose between the lesser of two evils. You don't vote. I think Benson also spoke on that as well. But yeah, our government purposely set us all up that if we choose not to vote on moral standards and values, that we're going to get screwed and be put into bondage with the choice that we didn't vote for and other people did. So yeah, they did a real number on us here in our nation. But we have a situation where the church keeps pushing what doesn't ever have any basis in authority whatsoever. And so the actual process for succession, as I'm noticing things are getting a little restless and worried that I might have to stop the video, edit the video, resume the video at a time where I think it might be safe. But 22 of section 107, after talking about the presidents of each quorum chosen by the quorum, not the stake president, the quorum, not the bishop, the quorum. You then have the office of the high priest over the whole church. And it says, of the Melchizedek priesthood, chosen by the body. Oh, there's the vote. That's where it went. We actually choose, and it's the priesthood, Melchizedek priesthood, regardless of what quorum you're in. All Melchizedek priesthood holders vote for 3 presiding high priests. 3, not counselors. See, this is where Brigham Young purposely misled you with the vote and 3 presidencies when 2 are counselors. Dear God, turn it down. But that's how it was supposed to have been done. This is where we get the myth of Adam-on-Diamon's priesthood meeting in the latter days, where Jesus gets the keys from Lucifer to destroy our governments and take over the throne and turn the Constitution into a monarchy. Yeah, way to perfection. Joseph Fielding Smith Jr. That's what crossed the line and got me here. They'd set it up. They laid in wait, did all sorts of things to me, all during that time, and then, oops, I did it again. So yeah, the sex trafficking really ticked them off, but when I found out that they were going to overthrow America, and yeah, they were upset with that. And so, yeah, that's why I'm trying to warn you guys. And Senator Lee, he's a descendant of the Danite, the infamous Danite of the Mountain Meadows Massacre in Utah, or Mormon War in Missouri during that election fraud. And so, oh my God, turn it down. But, yeah, and I do believe that there are those who don't want me doing videos, and so they purposely do stuff to screw with me. And I don't know if it's because they're confused, that they think I'm supporting the church, when they don't understand I'm actually criticizing the church, and that I'm here because they're trying to assassinate me, which gives me street cred. but nonetheless, yeah, this is a whole new reality than what the church is telling us. Yeah, so when I stop, it stops. But I should throw in an extra thing here. The Relief Society, lest we forget the women. Because the church sure has. Brigham Young wanted nothing to do with Joseph Smith having given women the priesthood and priesthood office. It's in the Joseph Smith papers, so screw Brigham Young for his abuse. He was everything. A racist, sexist, bigot, hateful of the Jews, anti-Semites, and all the white supremacy spectrum. And so, yeah, women have been robbed of the priesthood power, but yet you'll see the church, they have one of the Relief Society president, the new one I think, talking about how there's great blessings in priesthood power. Oh, dear God, it's all a con. I did see a video about ordained women. They have it different. It's WO, W-O, is in front of woman for woman, but ordained women is reversed. I don't know, like, it'd be kind of tricky to do women ordained. It could be, I guess, but I don't know. I thought it was funny, and then a girl baptizing a guy.